at that point, you're not there to play it safe. Like if you're not taking risks, you're not competing.
It's empowering. I mean, anybody who's done a CrossFit workout, you finish your CrossFit workout and you're like, I'm on top of the world.
Yeah.
Like a hunger for competition and like that super intense structure, routine. I still had that desire.
Listen to the way people feel and the motivations for doing the things that they did. It was like they were describing me to a T.
I'm not trying to solve everything for you, but I know that sometimes you just need somebody to listen.
Learned the most is how to fill my cup by filling others.
Welcome to the Hungry Dog Barbell Podcast. Join me as I talk with passionate people about their life's failures and successes, and most importantly, what keeps them hungry for more. All right, so
the road to the 2038 games, Taylor.
2038.
Now, that's when I'll be 55.
I was going to say that's 15 years from now.
That's when I'll be, I guess it won't be Madison anymore, but wherever it is, that's where I'll be on that field.
Yeah, damn.
2038.
On that note, what up, dogs? Welcome back to the Hungry Dog Barbell Podcast. We're joined by another repeating guest. We got Mike Devito back in the building. Mike, how you feeling today, dude?
I feel good. Taylor, thanks for having me on. It's good to be a repeat. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
We're a repeat soon, so.
Hell yeah. We're, like 12 hours now, 20 hours, something like that, out from 23.3.
Yes.
The CrossFit Open be officially over.
Yes.
How'd that go for you?
Officially over. 23.3. I wound up doing 3 times.
Oh, man, it's only like a couple minutes, right?
Just to get a couple more. But the Open was great this year. I think it was, compared to last year where it was, I think really heavy on the gymnastics, you know what I mean? And kind of took away from some of the strong guys. But this year, I think they brought some more of the strength aspects in, which made it a little bit more well-rounded.
Yeah.
Which made it harder for me.
Yeah.
But that's fine. It was much more of a challenge. It was great, though. Another Open in the book. So
that's awesome. So of the 3 workouts, the 4 tests, which one was your favorite?
I'd have to say...
Like for you to do.
Yeah, I would say 20, as far as 23.2 A and B. Right, because A was right up my wheelhouse. Right, I'm a little light guy. Running, burpees, pull-ups, right up my alley. And then part B was like a weakness of mine, strength. So it was nice to kind of see. You always know where you're at, but it was nice to see it like on the leaderboard. Like, all right, we kind of knew going in this year was a weakness. It's really exposed now. And it gives you that with every Open. Right, there's that takeaway. What do I got to fix? And for me, that's going to be the big takeaway. Is just continue to get stronger.
Last year, before you turned 40, when you were doing the Open, right, were you looking at the guys that were going to be in your category?
Absolutely.
You were looking ahead to see what they were going to be like?
Yeah, because, in the beginning, everyone's like, oh, man, you're bumping up to 40 to 44. You're going to be the young guy. And I'm like, look,
those are
just
the
because
fittest
you're bumping
dudes,
up,
though.
those are dudes that have been fit for a long time, getting stronger. So, I started looking at their stats, and I'm like, this ain't no cakewalk. You know what I mean? I definitely got, yes, I'll be on the younger end in it, but it's definitely a challenge. It's good to be up there with them. But, it's just it got my head focused.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All that means is that you're not going against 19-year-olds anymore.
Yes.
Whether you age up a category. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to get easier. It's just that you have a smaller field now.
Correct. A much smaller field. But in some ways, it could be a lot more challenging.
Yeah.
Field. Yeah.
So did you redo any of the other workouts or only 23.3?
I redo all my Open workouts. I'm a redoer. Whether it's funny. My training partner, the first thing she was like, have you ever tried just doing your best the first time?
Yeah.
It's like you always do your best. And as soon as you're doing it, I remember hitting the 30 power cleans in 23.1, and as I'm hitting the end of the power cleans, I'm like, I'm not redoing this. Let me do what I can on the ring muscle. And as soon as you're done, you're like, you know what? I could do better.
So do you like make a game plan, or are you just like, I'm just going to try to go?
No, I always make a game plan. So I'll really take it. One thing I'm big on, and I tell anyone that's training with me, when you're judging someone, forget time. I mean, obviously if there's a tiebreaker, but write down scores for time for every single piece.
Yeah. So
you have, when you redo it, you have a good gauge of, are you on track to beat every single section? You know what I mean? Are you ahead? Are you behind the clock? Things like that. So that's step 1, right? Who's ever judging me, whether it's every section that I'm going to clear.
You have your judge do that right down.
And I give them the pregame, like, don't miscount me for something, like, because you're looking at the clock, but if you can, the minute I'm done with my dubs or whatever it is, write down the time, just so if I could go back, I know I'm ahead of the game, behind the 8 ball. So that's step 1 in the Open. I always do that so I can look back. I have a time gauge, and then I'll really just break everything down. I will scour the internet,
Do you video yourself too?
Yes, I'll video myself to see, like, because you always think you're doing this amazing thing, and then you look back and you're like,
you can see it clear.
Yeah, I was, and so the big thing for me, especially when it comes to lifting, I'm a big singles guy, steady singles. And then I'll rewatch my videos, and I'm like, wow, in my mind, I'm thinking I'm taking one breath like my plan.
You're like
and
walking
I'm like,
away from the bar.
6 breaths walking away. I'm like, all right, got to fix that. And then it's really just breaking down strategy. There's always a wealth of knowledge come Saturday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? On any given open workout. I'm big on WOD Prep, really puts out good information as far as strategy. HWPL, just look at everything you can and then just try to get a better game plan going forward.
Yeah.
Look at other people's scores, try to talk to people, watch other people do it, just kind of get a gauge of, what's working, what's not working.
So do you always do better on all the
Always.
radios? You always got better?
Yeah.
You never had that pain of not doing better?
Well, so never say never. This was my first time. So 23.3. I redo it, right? I get 10 handstand push-ups, right? My big takeaway from me that I have to get stronger there. At my size, that needs to be a strength,
right? Not
like a weakness for me. So I got 10. I'm like, I could do way better. So unfortunately, I had my 40th birthday party that Saturday night.
Yeah.
Surprise party turned into a big party. So partied a little too hard. For me, when I'm hungover, my issue is that I don't eat.
Yeah.
So basically my Sunday calories were 2 White Claws and some leftover chicken nuggets.
Nothing to put in that workout.
So there was nothing. I came in Sunday, I went extra hard on my product of choice, Vitargo. And I was feeling okay. I thought I was doing my thing, and I did comically worse.
Ooh.
I didn't even finish the 135 snatches. I was like 30 seconds up, like I'm done. I'm like, I'm coming back at 1 o'clock. So it's the first time I ever did.
Went home with the sleep. That's funny.
It was such. Yeah, I was like embarrassed. I'm like, I'm going home. Like, this is ridiculous. I had to come back. I'm not normally a midday workout guy. I prefer to do it in the morning, but I'm like, I got to suck it up. I got to get it done. And I just dug deep. You know what I mean? And thank God I did better, because I would have probably just quit CrossFit.
How many handstand push-ups did you get that time?
3 more.
3 more.
It's I don't always.
That'll be a lot on the leaderboard.
It is, and that's the only reason why I wanted to redo it. Normally, to members, I would never say, hey, don't redo a workout to get 3 reps or 5 seconds. But leaderboard-wise in that workout, that was huge. And so, perfect example, right? After each workout, 99th percentile, 98th, 99th. That thruster, though, that point B, 61st percentile.
Oh, so that dropped you down.
So I was, normally at the end, I'm kind of, sitting okay. I don't sweat it out, but I was sweating.
Yeah.
I think I probably lost about 2 pounds sweating it out. So
That's
I'm like,
funny.
no. If I could get 3, 4 more, if I could finish those handstand push-ups, even better. So it was like,
put you in a good spot.
I was not happy. I was not happy. It's the first time I just sweated out.
So what was your least favorite workout of the 4 tests?
I don't think I had a least favorite. You know what I mean? I love to be challenged. I obviously love things in my wheelhouse, so I love the first one. 23.1. That's one just in our normal program. I think we've done that like 4 times since 2014 when it came out.
Right.
So there's been times where I've gotten back to the rower, times where I haven't. So that was a great one to say, like, all right, we've done this a million times. How are we going to get after it?
Yeah.
23.2A. I love shuttle runs. We do them a lot in the programming I follow. But that thruster, I knew the strength piece was going to come, and it just kind of already finalized the weakness I knew I had.
Right.
So, but in a way, like, I didn't hate it. You know what I mean? It was kind of fun to see where I'm at. But I guess you could say that was my least favorite. But I didn't dislike any of them.
Yeah, it's like if you had to pick one, that'd be.
If I had to pick, that would be the thruster, right? Because I'm not good at it.
So how many years have you done the open now?
So this was my 10th.
10th year.
10th.
Do you have a favorite year? The six out of your mind.
I guess the first year I actually didn't suck hard, right? But they're all great. Like your first year, you'll never get back that first experience.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Magic.
Like, hey, what's the open? Like, you sure I could do this?
Yeah.
And back then, you've been doing CrossFit as long as me, right? So back then, there was no scale division,
right?
So you could have been day 1 in CrossFit, and they're like, hey, at the end of the workout, you're gonna try to get 30 ring muscle ups. You ever do that? No, okay.
And you got you got the double unders and the snatches right in the middle. Like things like that. The workout, you're doing those no matter what.
Exactly. So So I mean, there were certain things I was always kind of good at, but so I'll always love my first one, and I think each one is a new experience that you learn more things, right? With age comes experience,
right?
You know what I mean? So it's really good to give that feedback now to to members that it's their first open, their second open, because you gain so much knowledge.
Yeah.
A lot of times people are like, not just to me, but anyone that's been a veteran, like, oh my God, you're so good at this, you're so good at that. I'm like, you don't understand. Like, this has been 10 years.
Yeah.
That's exactly where you were, if not worse.
Yeah, I was worse.
You know what I mean?
Right?
So
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
like, no, it just takes time. So I love that aspect. So I would say my first 3 years ago was the first year I made quarterfinals. That was a great one for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it was like, you look back at all the other ones and you're like, wow, I was, 38,000th, you know what I mean? And then you have some big jumps. And then to make that top 10% was really huge.
Yeah.
And then take that back. The second year making quarterfinals, so 2 years ago, was even better because for me, it was like, you know what? This wasn't a fluke. Because you always wonder, like, wow, was it just a fluke where all the workouts kind of in my favor, heavy on the gymnastics?
Yeah.
So the second year was like, no, I made it 2 years in a row now for individual plus age group. Like, it's not a fluke.
Right.
Like, I'm probably, like maybe I'm getting pretty good at this.
Yeah, yeah.
So then this year was just like, so last year, I really started to take my competitive training more seriously. I really started, I started following HWPO Pro, which is a lot more serious of a training program. So it really was good to see everything kind of pay off this year. So
all come to fruition.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
like you just talked about this a little bit before, like members asking you, what's the open,
Yeah.
So what do you tell new people or members that like aren't competitive? How do you incentivize them to like do the open? And is that something that you're like a warrior for?
Yeah.
Like, are you all about
absolutely.
people doing the open?
To me, I explained to them that the open is going to be the greatest experience of your life in this gym.
Right.
Right. Because, I just kind of reiterate to them why do we come here? Right. We come here for the community. We come here to push each other. So it's all of that, but not now amplified by 10,000.
Right.
Because now you're getting to compete with people around the globe in such a fun atmosphere. And it gets people excited. You know what I mean? And I love watching people get excited about doing it, getting scored, realizing they're way better than they thought they were. The magic of the open, right? It's almost every member is going to do something amazing in the open, especially their first one.
Right.
So I really explain that to them and what a great time it is, because all it is, it's especially when people are nervous. I'm like, listen, you've likely done harder workouts than any of the open workouts in class. You just didn't know it.
Yeah.
All it is a regular class that's just a little bit more structured, right? You have your judge there, but it's just a great way to ignite the community in a way that's different than just regular class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
a much bigger stage, and it's great.
And the open, the signups did go up this year again, which is good.
I saw that.
I did see like some feedback that people are like starting to lose interest or like lose the vision of why they're still doing it. You know, and I think that quarterfinals has its pros and cons. It allows for a higher level of competition, like for some people like yourself. Like a training goal to shoot forward to, but then for the masses, it's like, am I still going to keep doing this? Like for what reason? And I think that I agree with all things you just said, right? It's kind of that like buy-in that makes it a little bit more serious that it, like holds you accountable, like I'm putting my $20 towards this to help build CrossFit, one, but then two, also like I'm involved. Like I'm a player in this game. Like I'm not a character on the side. I'm an active main character.
Absolutely.
You want to be like actually in the game. So like you've been competing a lot over this past year. Let's talk about a couple of those comps. Like how did the GBP go? I know you guys were pumped up for that.
Yes. So the Green Beret project it's only, or the Dream Green Beret Classic. This is its only second year, and so the first year was kind of, I don't even remember how I think someone we saw an ad or something like that. And I think maybe the one guy came to talk about the Green Beret project. So like, we'll check it out, and it was such a fun event, you know what I mean? Because it just took like a local comp to the next level.
Right.
Even for the new members we brought along, we're like, it's like, look, you're in this convention center. You're like in this really big place. I love team competitions. I always love team competitions. And it was just so well run.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was for a great cause. So we just fell in love with, one, the cause, and two, the competition. So we knew the second year, we're like, oh, we're going in. So that first year, I think we had 6 teams. When they announced it again, we're like, we're going big. We're going big. So we wound up getting 9 teams. It's pushing for 10. We only wound up getting 9. And it's not always easy to get teams of 3.
Yeah.
But
it's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people. So, but we showed up big. It was a great event. We wound up podiuming 2 of our teams, my team and one of the girls' teams. So that's always a great feeling.
Right.
But just to take your whole crew, you know what I mean? Your whole family.
Yeah.
And then have to go outside and just see like, yeah, you know what? Like, we're competitive alongside some of the the big names, and it's just fun.
Is it like a competitive environment over at Delco, or do you guys like foster that? Like, because not all CrossFit gyms, like you guys have like a lot of everyday people that become competitive. So how does that go?
So I'll say yes and no, right? I would say 98% of what goes on at CrossFit Delco is just like, your average Joes.
Right.
You know what I mean? Average Joe warriors. But then we also have that small, it's a much smaller percentage, that competitive aspect.
Yeah.
But that's continuing to grow. And I think because the one thing we really foster, with our competitive side is we want to make sure we're still having fun.
Right.
You know what I mean? So so we have the competitors class, or, quote unquote competitors class that we have 5:30 on Saturdays. But we always let people know it's open to everybody.
5:30 a.m.?
5:30 a.m.
Oh
yeah, well, so 5:30 a.m. we usually don't start warming up to about 6:30. It usually gets pushed further and further back.
Someone's going to show up at 5:30.
Yeah, so as long as people get in there, but it's open to everybody. We're like, we don't want it to feel exclusive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Anybody could come. We could scale anything for you. It is a little bit different, and we let people know. It's not like a typical class. It's not coach led. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're new, I'll help you warm up and things like that. But it's really, we have fun and we make it fun. So usually I'll get in there early. I'll put 3 or 4 workouts on the board, and everybody votes, right? And whichever workout gets the most votes, that's the one we attack. And maybe we might make some changes to some of the workouts if someone's really loving this workout and not so much this workout. Well, so we make it fun. We make it inclusive. And
it's like crowdsourced too.
Yes. So once you get that buy-in, it's a lot more fun. And I think over time, because we have so much fun at CrossFit Delco, I think that just helps to push the competitive side of it. And I would say, honestly, last year, it's kind of developed on its own to kind of get bigger and bigger on the competitive side. But it's not something we focus on. It's like that small subset that a handful of us love to do. But, so I would say yes and no to answer the question. It's both.
That's awesome. Last year, the fucking Super Total had George Brown come out, right? And he's wearing the onesie and shit.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, maybe this guy's just going to be like a dude that's here to mess around, have fun. You get those people at comps and shit.
Yep.
And then he throws down, wins the shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, he wasn't fucking around, having a great time, but still lifting some heavy ass weights. I was like, oh shit, okay.
That's one thing we do. If we're going to sign up for comps, especially if we're going deep, rolling deep, we don't just we won't just roll up. We take the time, we organize practices, especially with the newer members. This is great. You want to have a team? Come to the competitors class.
Right.
Let's spend time breaking down the movements, breaking down strategies, help you understand what you're good at and things like that. Because if we're going to do it, we're there to have fun. But I want people to podium. I want people to experience that feeling, because there's no greater feeling than getting on top of that podium.
Yeah.
It really is, whether you're a competitor or not, it's just great to experience.
Yeah.
I think there's so many people, especially for me, my experience in sports in high school was participation trophy. I played football because you didn't get cut. Everybody made the team.
Right.
I love basketball. I wasn't good enough to make the teams. So so I never got to experience that competitive side. And so I think that's CrossFit brought that to me. And I think now we see that brings people that maybe have always wanted that feeling and just never had it when they were younger. So they get to experience it now, and it's such a great feeling.
That's awesome. Yeah. Who's your favorite CrossFit athlete, male or female?
Wow. So female, Mal O'Brien. I'm a big fan. I remember, was it 2 years ago when I went to Madison to watch the games? And I saw her, I'm like, wow, this girl's such a beast. She's so young, but she's a beast. I'm like, this girl is going to be trouble.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't remember. I think maybe she finished 8th or 9th or something like that.
Yeah, she's in the top 10 first year.
Top 10, won Rookie of the Year. I'm like, she's going to be a force to contend with.
Yeah.
And then my favorite male athlete is Matt Fraser. I watched them two connect, and I'm like, all right, this girl's going to spell trouble now.
Right.
Sure enough, she's living up to the hype. You know what I mean?
She's like the protege, right?
She is definitely a protege. And some of the things she does, she's not tall. You know what I mean? She's a short girl. And in 23.1, she got off that rower in 2:20. I mean, that was something I told even tall guys, don't go that fast. You know what I mean? So just to watch her and develop is big.
Yeah.
Big, yeah.
So how do you feel when Mal O'Brien, she had a couple of things at Wodapalooza, but there's a lot of people that you're seeing the bad reps or the shortcomings in the quarterfinals or open workouts. Do you ever get discouraged when you see the big name athletes kind of either cutting corners or taking some no reps even when they know there are no reps?
No, you know what I mean? I don't try to worry too much about that stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, I get why some people, would look at it a certain way, but that's them.
Yeah.
I don't think so much.
That's out of your control.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I'm not them. It's not out of my control. I mean, there's some things where I would like to see, I guess people perform a little better, but it is what it is.
Yeah. What was I just going to fucking say next? So, dude, when you're doing these workouts, because I talked to Devin about this, right? Like, you guys did like all of the GBP workouts as they were getting announced. Is that how you always are?
Yes.
So what are you going to do when you go to a comp and like they don't announce it beforehand?
We'll just have to. The good thing with us is that we train so hard and we practice so hard. You just look back on past experience. You know what I mean? You trust your training.
Right.
You know what I mean? You trust your experience, and we're always ready to tackle anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, obviously, we love knowing months and months in advance because you could really drill down. Especially what made this year fun was that they kind of piecemealed everything out.
Yeah.
Like, yes, is the workout, but we're not going to tell you any of the some of the smaller details. The catch is like, do you have to tag certain things, or just different things. Like, is it 3 rounds where everyone does 3 rounds?
Yeah.
So the first year they gave you all that. You know what I mean?
Everything.
So it's easy to practice. This year we were like, again, you look at past experience. We're like, hey, this is what they did last year. Let's practice this workout 4 different ways. How they did it last year. Let's
4 different ways.
Yeah, let's practice it. If they do it this way, hey, what else could they do? Let's practice it that way.
Yeah.
And I think we do that more because we had a lot of newer members forming teams, so we wanted them to feel as comfortable as possible. Because your first comp, I don't care how prepared you are, I get nervous butterflies in the open. I'm 10
so you
years
don't look
in.
at it as like just workouts.
I think we look at it as a bonding experience. Obviously we want to be prepared, but we just like to have fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or that's like the culture I like to make sure we have.
Yeah.
We have fun through working hard, preparing.
Yeah.
And I think for me, because we have so many new people there, I just love watching people get calm and I just, more accepting of where they're at, and then just being ready for anything as opposed to just being nervous and filled with self-doubt. Because if you could just continue to build up confidence and confidence and confidence, you get to watch people do amazing things.
Right.
And I mean, besides me being competitive, me loving my own training, that's what keeps me coaching as much as I do, is watching people go from like no confidence to 100% confidence. Yeah. And I would love to see people get to my point where even if I'm horrible at something, I'm going in with 100% confidence. Like, I'm taking this all, even if it's, a pipe dream. But just to kind of watch people change from being, scared or nervous or shy and then just opening up. You know what I mean? It's such a cool thing to see develop.
That's awesome. And we talked like last episode about like your journey from like where you were before, no confidence, out of shape, dropping my inhaler.
Yeah.
To like now high level of fitness. I mean, in the top 94% for like your division and worldwide, stuff like that. So with that big change, what does fitness and health mean to you now versus like what it was back then? Things, right? Obviously, as we get older, things change, right? So fitness is always going to be just one, being healthy. Yeah. Right? I want to live till I'm 200. You know what I mean? So fitness is a big part of that. And then I'll always have that aspect of like, hey, I used to be obese. You know what I mean? So it's like, you never want to go back to that. But that's so long ago. I think it's more just about continuing to get healthy. Fitness, that's always going to be the main part of fitness for me. But I think as I move forward, it's just all about adjusting your training, how to train smarter. Because really, right now I'm training for longevity. I want to be competing. I want to be those masters you see at 55, 60, 65, 70, 80, 100. You know what I mean? And they, and they keep doing it. They're able to do amazing things. So I think fitness has really evolved into this just long-term goal for me. How do I keep myself where I can continue to do this for as long as possible? Yeah. And it's just all about being smart. And the more time you put in, the smarter you get. Yeah. We've all made this. When you first get into fitness, when you're young, you make a lot of mistakes. You not cut corners, but you don't focus on mobility. You know what I mean? You're not thinking about the long haul. You want fast results. And I think now it's just about trusting the process. You know what I mean? There's things I need to work on, but I know I'm just going to take my time to get there. You play the long game. Right. Play the long game. Are you at that point in your journey where you're like looking at other sports now? Like people get into triathlons, Ironman, stuff like that. People ask me that all the time, and it's just like, for me... Seems like a Devito kind of thing. Yeah, no, I mean, I'll do those things for fun, you know what I mean? Like, I used to bike ride a lot, so I used to, I remember the first time we did a 100-mile bike ride, like, that was cool. For me, and this is what I always tell people, CrossFit ruined fitness for me, in the sense that that's all I ever want to do. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'll try different things just because CrossFit gets me to a place where I can do these different things, but it's always going to come back to CrossFit for me. Yeah. That's my love, that's my home. I'll argue it to the day I die that, not that it's end all be all, but like, for me, it is like, that's the passion right now. That's the passion. That's always going to be my passion because it just involves so much.
it gets you to this competitive side, but it just takes everything I love about fitness and just puts it in just a great place for me.
So what's next on the competitive CrossFit space? We got the quarterfinals, age group qualifiers is April 1st, the weekend of that.
So quarterfinals are next. I just saw a post from CrossFit, a little bit different this year. We have 2 24-hour windows instead of 3 24-hour windows, which isn't much. We're probably the most prepared for that because since we're older now, we all have families. Like we took it as like, hey, we have Friday and Saturday. We're not doing this. We're not doing this Sunday. We're not saving for Monday. Like I got a busy schedule. You know, I got
Friday, Saturday. Yeah,
so we've always been doing that too.
Yeah.
So in a way, we're kind of prepared for that. I know we're going with the same week as the teams now, so I think it's a little bit sooner than. I think age is a little bit sooner now than it was last year.
Yeah, last year they pushed it.
Last year was a while. I was like, this is great. We get a nice little break.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited for this year. My training partner, my best friend in fitness, she made quarterfinals for the first time this year.
Sweet.
Not only for her age group, but for just worldwide females, which was so huge for her.
Yeah.
You know, because I think some people look at it as like, yeah, I made it age group, but like, oh, so what? Like, you know, it's age group. You know, I guess you're expected to get better as you age. So for her, the big deal was, can I make it with these young bitches? I don't know if I can say that, but you know, and she did. It was just so awesome to see that. And that's what I love. It's like, listen, I'm a narcissistic guy, but as much as I love myself, I will always love more seeing people hit goals that they never thought they could
succeed around you, right?
Yeah, it's
always amazing
awesome because you get to be a part of that. And it's amazing.
What are you hoping to see pop up in the quarterfinals?
So I'd like to see. I want it to continue to be well rounded, right? And that's just me being selfish because you know I'm okay strong for my size. You know what I mean? But strength is something I need to continue to work on. So when you see those 100-pound dumbbells and things like that, it's like, you know, I'll muster my way through it. Yeah. But that's my tough spot. So
I think the quarterfinals is definitely where they put in more of the strength stuff and more of the higher skill gymnastics. I mean, we had the ring muscle up in the first workout, but you had to make it to get there. You know,
which when I saw that, I'm like, where do we go from here? Like, is it going to get easier? The next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So for me,
it kind of did in a sense. You know,
it did. Yeah, and it's exactly what they said where. It's going to be more accessible in the sense that everybody can, you know, do most of it, and the elite will just be able to go further into things. So I thought it was perfect. Like, 90% of people didn't get to the ring muscle ups, and that's fine. You know, it's still allowed for that even playing field. You know, the people that could do ring muscle ups just took it a step further. Yeah. Same with this last one with those heavy snatches. You know, so many people, you know, got to the 185 snatch but couldn't do it. You know what I mean? So I thought the open this year was well developed. You know what I mean? A little bit different.
I thought it was, I think that I've been going back and forth with, do I think that last year's accessibility was better than this year's? The muscle up, looking back on the 3 tests after they've been revealed, I think the muscle up was kind of blowing your lead early. Yeah. I would have switched workout 1 and 3 so that you don't end on a 6-minute workout for 95% of the population, because those are the ones that pay for the CrossFit Open.
100%.
Or change that. What me and Jeff talked about is making the first barbell heavier for the snatch, making the 2 rounds longer, and then people can get a little bit deeper into it. Right.
I would have loved to seen a little bit more progressions with those gymnastics, like. Keep the 2 rounds of wall
and
walks.
One more in,
but then make make it kipping handstand push-ups.
Yeah, in the
then
middle.
Strict or kipping and then handstand walks. I was really waiting for handstand walks.
Correct. That would have been a progression that I thought made a little bit more sense.
Absolutely.
If you start with the wall walk and then go to a handstand push-up and then go to a handstand walk.
Yeah.
Even keep the strict ones in the middle. Don't even go to kipping and go to a handstand walk afterwards. You know, I thought that would have made a little bit more sense. Yeah. And maybe some variants of the double under, since we've been having the crossover in our face now for those 2 years.
Oh man, so it's funny. New movements come out even in the games, and I get ready for them.
Yeah.
So I was hoping for that. I'm like, I could double under crossover now. Yeah. You know, I could handstand walk. So I'm like, and sometimes they'll give you those things. Like I remember the first year they did have handstand walking in the open. Yeah. But they had it at the end of this very, very twist on Diane that did it twice, then hit 315. So I'm like, great, I could do handstand walks, but I'm never going to get there.
Do the 21, of the 315.
Yeah, exactly. So I was
felt like 400 pounds.
Yeah, so I'm like, well, there goes that. So but I would love to see some of those things in the quarterfinals. Yeah, because I think those are separators that like I said, I'll be selfish. There's separators that I can do. You know what I mean? So I would love. I want it to be well rounded. You know what I mean? I want to see the high level gymnastics. Obviously, I want to see the strength. But I don't think it has to get too heavy.
Yeah.
I think you could have it heavy enough where you'll still have your separators, but you'll still allow people to kind of continue to progress.
Right. A lot of people are saying they're waiting for 225 clean to come up for reps in the Open.
Yeah.
Well,
if you look at how they started the Open this year, I could see it. Maybe it's at the end, and it'd be the same thing. You can do it or you can't, and you'll have the majority of the population not be able to do it, which I guess is okay. As long as you give them enough of a workout before that to be competitive, and then yes, after 15 minutes, here's where the elites are going to continue to go on. But I think you brought up a good point. In this last one, the majority of people had a 6-minute workout. Yeah. Which is fine. I know it's a test. But, most gyms or affiliates are doing it on a Friday. So that's still taking up a whole Friday where they got a 6-minute workout. Right. So most people, I'm sure, just like our gym did, like you stay and did the class workout or just do something else.
It takes us longer to tape up the floors than for people to do the workout.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Some people were just doing the workout twice just because it was only 6 minutes.
Yeah, why not?
Just to get a little bit of a better workout in there.
If you took the foundation version and then just adjusted it to keep the double unders, that's a pretty good workout.
Yeah, we did that for some people here too.
I'm like, that's a pretty good workout.
Yeah, we did that for a couple people here then. With quarterfinals now, right, is the Open still as much of a test? I mean, for the high-level guys, they just got to make it to semis essentially. But for us, is it still so much of a test? Only 3 weeks?
So I'll look at it 2 ways, right? For gyms, the 3 weeks is way better than 5, right? Because, 5 weeks, that's 5 weeks of your interrupting programming.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And as much as we foster, like, hey, everybody come to the Open, not everybody's into it.
Yeah.
So it's still, a Friday, and then you got redo. So it still chews up a lot of weeks. So I'd say from an affiliate perspective, 3 weeks is perfect. I think from a competitive side, not for the elites, because like you said, the elites, they're not worried about the Open. They don't even care if they finish first. They're just like, this is just, it's a technique. We got to do this to go to quarterfinals to get to semis. So I think for everyone else, which when you think about it, the everyone else is CrossFit, right? So, I think 5 weeks was a better test for everybody because you got to see a lot more well-rounded workouts. You got to at least to get through 3 solid workouts before things got really tough. But I guess it is what it is. CrossFit is training for the unknown, and right now the unknown is, hey, it's down to 3 weeks, so things are going to get hard quick.
So what's after quarterfinals now?
So
you signed up for anything else?
Yeah, so we have a couple comps coming down the pike. So I just signed up for Riverfront. I can't say Riverfront Rivalry. Right, I had trouble with my R's growing up. Riverfront Rivalry. So I'm looking forward to that. Want to go back to Dewey. Dewey was a great experience. I got to find a partner for that because I'm going to do Masters this year. But my go-to guy, my training partner,
he's not 40?
Sordini is not 40,
Damn.
which sucks. And I even knew that last year. I'm like, Mike, this was our last time doing Dewey. Because it was my first time doing Dewey, but it was just like the first year doing Green Beret. We signed up for RX, and I'm like, oh, this is RXX. Yeah. You know what I mean? This isn't like your local little comp art. This is like, these are some big names here. Yeah. So, which was great, though. I didn't mind finishing, 10th. Because it's like, who cares? Like, we kind of held our own at 20
with these guys.
Through now with these guys.
Yeah.
We did our thing. I'll never forget last year in Dewey. We made the top 10. So we made that final heat. You know what I mean? It's like, listen, we weren't 20th. We made the show.
That's sweet. Yeah.
We made that final heat, which was kind of cool to see. But I instantly knew, I'm like, I will be doing Masters next year. Just to be more competitive. So I'm on the hunt for
Masters
partner. Yeah. Because when I take comp serious, like I love to have fun, but like I want to win. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I'll try to find the best partner I can out there. Someone that complements, me. So yeah. To be continued on Dewey. But then we got we'll be doing Brawl in the Burbs again. It's always a great comp here. That's nice. Until August. Trying to think, am I sprinkling anything in?
You gonna look at any of the bigger master comps like Masters Fitness Collective?
Yeah. Now that I'm Masters, it's just there's so much more that opens up. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna get into all that. Yeah. But I want to be strategic. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to always interrupt training just for a long weekend. So I want to be strategic with the comps, make sure I'm not impacting my training so much. But yeah, I love competing. Yeah. So yeah, those are the big ones right now: Riverfront Rivalry, and then Dewey.
Sweet. Yeah. So Mike, what are you like really focused on right now? What's the goal?
So honestly, the goal is what it always is, right? Especially at the end of the Open, I expose any weaknesses I have, and I got to get to work on. Yeah.
What'd you write down this year?
So big takeaway, and that's kind of always the case, is strength. What I love about CrossFit is you don't have to be the strongest, but you have to be strong enough.
Yeah.
And right now, I'm close to being strong enough.
That's a little false, dude. Who are the best CrossFitters of the world? Matt Frazier, former Olympic lifter. Tia, medalist Olympic lifter. Yes. So literally like some of the strongest,
And that's the thing that takes the longest, right? Strength.
Yeah.
So that's always the big one for me. So I really just have to get stronger. And at the same time, though, keep my skills and my gymnastics sharp. Because like 4 years ago, I made that mistake and I was like, I got to get strong. And I got strong. Yeah. I got strong, strong as fuck. But the gymnastics, I didn't keep up with it. And, it was a shock to my system. So I had to go back to the drawing board. And fix that. Right now I'm back, in the middle, right? I'm decently strong. I'm good with my gymnastics. So I got to continue to do both. But my big takeaway is strength. And another big thing for me is those strict handstand push-ups.
Yeah.
Strength isn't always a factor with strict handstand push-ups. But you look at a guy like me, my size, that needs to be such a clutch asset.
Like your money move. Yeah.
It's got to be my money move, not something like, all right, it's going to be, something I got to worry about. So I got to fix those two things, right? I need to bang out 50 unbroken strict. You know what I mean? When I'm fresh. And I got to get stronger overall. So that's my big takeaway. I got to, a year to do it.
Remember those? Well, I forget what I had for the Masters division at Brawl on the Burps, but I had those strict deficit last year.
That was for RX.
The RX, right?
We just had to do strict. And they're always tricky. It's like, when you're fresh, no big deal. But at the end of a very hard workout, it's like, who's going to pull it out? And sometimes it's not strength. Sometimes it's just like grit. You know what I mean? And can you dig down and just muster them out? So
we've put a lot of those deficit into like our program in here lately. So looking ahead towards the Open, right?
And their deficits are there. I think I think we'll definitely see those in the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
And I think you'll definitely probably see that in the Open going forward. You know what I mean? If it's something at the end.
Well, for the Open though, it's just hard to like standardize things.
Correct.
Because you get to take out a whole lot of stuff, right?
Even the 10-inch from the wall for the strict now. Could you keep that with kipping? I don't know. I don't have a big button. I'm almost, falling off the wall. So it's like, I think they would have to change that if it was kipping. I like the 30-inch thing though. I think that allowed you to get as wide as you needed to, and again, it's less tape.
Without having to go.
Exactly. And then when you have the box, it's so much taping.
Yeah.
If you're the coach in the morning taping things
having
up.
Tape all that shit. Yeah.
The greatest meme I ever saw was that Ben Affleck meme where he's like, I guess outside of recovery smoking a cigarette, like,
setting up for the Open.
Spending 6 hours taping to watch you finish 50,000. It's just like HQ, don't make it hard for affiliates.
Right.
Just, and if you're always going to have wall walks in the Open at some point, tell us so we can paint these lines on the floor. We're not taping. It's like having basketball court. Just tape on the floor.
But then the next
and don't change the standard. Yes.
The next year they'll change it by an inch, quarter inch.
I think the first year was really tough when they had it because you had to measure everybody individually.
Yeah.
I thought the change they made was perfect.
Overhead.
Yeah, it was
right
overhead.
onto the wall. Yeah.
So now they made it perfect. Yes, if you're shorter or taller, you're at a little bit of disadvantage.
Yeah.
Sure, but you can't make it perfect.
Yeah.
But right now, I'd like the standard 55-inch line for girls, 60-inch for guys, 10-inch from the wall.
Yeah.
It's perfect. It's lines. You could literally paint those. Just don't ever change the standard.
Right.
That's why I guess my one big complaint for HQ.
Yeah. Speaking of that, how did you feel about the first workout? Right. There was a lot of feedback on the spacing for workout one.
I thought that was pretty wild. I think you guys weren't thinking of the affiliates.
You don't have the biggest gym, right?
No, yeah. And we only have 3 sets of rings, right? Because we only have a handful of people that bang out ring muscle.
Right.
So I don't know if they truly thought about affiliates when
right.
they came up with that because, and I think then I did see, I was make a video hey, you could get creative with the spacing as long as it just meets some of these standards.
Right.
Because I'm like, not everybody's rig faces this way from rings. And so how do you meet those standards? So, we figured it out, but I think, something HQ could do is just make sure you're thinking about affiliates.
Right.
Think of those small boxes. Yes. Think about the bread and butter. So you make it, we could always figure it out.
Yeah.
But don't make it a hassle. Don't have, affiliate owners here we go.
Right.
You know what I mean? We got to change everything. Do we have space? I remember the first year when they had rowers, we only had 2 rowers in the gym.
Yeah.
So I had to call my friend to the gym yo, can I swing by and pick up 6 rowers? Can I borrow them for 2 days? You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think I like the equipment list now. I think it gives you plenty of time to get better prepared. I don't like listen, if you're going to have kettlebells and they're not till the quarters, let gym owners know that.
Yeah.
Because do we have to go out and get more kettlebells or do we not have to worry about it unless we have, members go to the quarterfinals?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Just like you said, the bread and butter, just think about the affiliates because that is the bread and butter. those who are eventually going, those are the ones that are coming up now, right? Maybe they're just newcomers, but maybe they will be the next Mel O'Brien, or the next guy.
Facts.
So I think, yeah.
I remember that first year they put the freaking dumbbell snatch in the workout. Everyone had to go out and get more 50s and 35s. Yeah. And it's like, tell us how many dumbbells we need, because the next year you did 2 dumbbells.
Yes, and it's very good. Like, not every gym's focused on different things, right? So some gyms are heavy on their dumbbell work depending on their programming.
Most CrossFit gyms out there probably only had like 4 50s in their gym, because how many people are using those on a regular basis?
And now gyms are different because it became more of the thing. But let people know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're going to form partnerships with Rogue, I get it, but let us know.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I get keeping some secrecy on the workouts, but like you have to be transparent if you want this to be the biggest worldwide online competition, which is what they brand it as.
Yeah, and I think it's going to, and like you said, it has grown year over year. We saw some dips in the growth, but growth is still growth, right? Just not as big of a growth. So we still see it, but and I think every year they learn from their mistakes. But it seems like they learn from their mistakes, and then they fix those, but then they fall back on some other ones.
Take 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
Exactly.
Like
so
that.
Just kind of find out what works and let the next year run smoothly.
Yeah.
Then maybe play with some ideas. But, I think include the affiliates.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not saying,
your
we
conversations.
don't have to give input on programming, but when the next year's coming up, like, let affiliates give input into the previous years. Hey, spacing was a big issue for a lot of gyms. And this way they can take that into account next year. You know what I mean? So I think as long as they continue to fix things, we will continue to grow. But you have to listen to your core members. You have to listen to the bread and butter. And as long as they do that, I think we will continue to see growth. I think CrossFit eventually will become, one of the main areas of fitness in the world.
Love
you know
that.
what I mean? It takes time to get there. You just have to keep growing. I think when, what's his name, who took over from last one?
Oh, Rosa?
Yeah, when he, a lot of people were shocked with the change, but I think it was a needed change. I think part of CrossFit had to get a little bit on the corporate side to continue to grow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You need certain things to happen. So as long as we continue to make the right things and you keep the affiliates in always at the course, or like at the heart of it, I think it'll be fine.
Right.
I think we'll continue to see it grow.
Don Fowle, the new guy, his plan is to get like 30 million people in affiliates by like 2026 or something like that, he said. And to have that kind of expansive growth, that kind of scale, then you need to have some sort of like standard operating procedures like that flow down the line.
Yes.
So you're going to need that. And
it's gotten better, right?
Yeah.
I mean, CrossFit HQ, they have programming that you could follow now if your gym wanted to do that, which I think is great.
With class plans.
Yeah, with class plans, because that helps. Because, as we've been doing this so long, I remember it was the wild, wild west in the beginning. You know what I mean? You had some great gyms. You had some bad gyms. You had stuff that didn't even make any sense. And it was just like a free-for-all. So those standardizations helped a lot. And if you continue, affiliates will always need to have freedom, right? But yeah, right, some things do need to be standard. If you want to have that type of growth, yes, you still have to have quality assurance. And you're going to have more standardization, which is fine.
Facts, quality assurance. That's exactly what any booming corporation and business needs. CrossFit is a business. All right, dude, I think it's a good place to wrap up, man. CrossFit out there, listen to the affiliates, keep the affiliates involved.
Yes, absolutely.
Guys, it's been Mike Devito on for a second time here. Show some love. Take a listen to the episode. We can get him back on a third time. All right,
Taylor, thanks for having me. Everybody out there, I love all you guys. Even if I don't know you, I love everybody. So, I'll be here. I'll look for my 3P, maybe next year.
Hell yeah. What's your Instagram, Mike? MDevito187?
MDevito787.
787.
Which is of no important significance other than
That's not like a...
it was one of the 3-digit numbers to my phone numbers, in my hometown, I guess. Just remember this. I'm the second fittest man in the world between 40 to 44. With a 12 size shoe that's Puerto Rican and Italian and lives within Delaware County.
Size 12?
5'7.5" with a size 12, baby.
Okay.
First in the world. And in that division, number 1 in the world.
In that division, number 1. Peace out, dogs.